Foden, lovely ball, De Bruyne, and there he is again, Erling Haaland. Foden again, could be another chance here, Haaland, he's going to score again, you know, 2 for him. Cancelo, Ruben Diaz, 4-0.
Stones for Manchester City, oh yes! What a ball that is by Cancelo!
And Haaland's there again! Mahrez and Alvarez, oh good ball. Oh, what a finish! This is Mahrez, and that's 3. And Mahrez! Emphatic finish! Another ball into the box, and this time they get the equaliser!
Haaland strikes, Manchester City lead. Here's De Bruyne, off the underside of the bar, and it's 2-0! It's Haaland again! Curled in, and does it cross the line? It has now! Gundogan turning, twisting, shooting, scoring! Haaland again! He's got 4 now! He's got 5! It's the Erling Haaland show! There's the shot and there's the goal he deserves!
Oh, what about that? Well, it goes to Haaland, promising for City, pulls across to Bernardo Silva! Dreamland in the Champions League for Manchester City. Haaland's in, scores! And Kimmich scores. Manchester City are into the semi-finals for the 5th time. Vinicius Junior shoots! Oh my word! Gundogan. Kevin De Bruyne! And it's 1-1 in the Bernabeu. Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, yeah! You don't save that one! Gundogan stepping in, there's the chance, oh it's 2! And it's Bernardo Silva again! Kick taken by De Bruyne, he's got it! Foden, on it goes to Alvarez! Manchester City are heading to Istanbul!
To Matchday Live from our amazing pitchside studio here at the Ataturk Olympic Stadium. We will be bringing you around the globe coverage from the best club in the land, won't we?
Yes, that's right, Natalie. I mean, look at where I am. I am on an amazing platform outside the stadium, and tonight I will be speaking pre-match to some very, very special guests who will be giving their expert opinion on tonight's final.
Yes, and I'm fortunate enough to be here with City legends Karen Bardsley and Steve Howey as we have our own Champions League final party here in the City studio. And we'll be joined from people across the world on our interactive fan wall as well. Can't wait. Alistair, where are you?
Well, thanks, Steve. Well, me and Andy are going to have our own private party, and we're certainly going to enjoy it as much as you are. We've got all sorts of stats, inside info, all the latest team news, everything you could wish for ahead of this huge match. Me and Andy also will bring you the commentary a bit later on, but that's to come. Wow, we're really looking forward to it.
And me too. I'm absolutely buzzing to be here tonight and amongst the Manchester City fans making their way to Mayfield Depot. I'll be here to bring you all the excitement and anticipation from 6,000 citizens as they support our boys right till the end in this historic game.
This city, this team, this time. One more. This city stands together This team stands on the brink of history. This time, it's different. This city, determined, daring. This team, fearless, relentless. This time, it's different.
We go again, guys. We go again.
We love this city. We live this city. No matter what comes our way, this is our city. We love this team, forged in his image. Mancunian art, Mancunian science, steeped in the will of Mancunian defiance. This time, it's different. This time, we lead from the front. This time, the goals rain in.
Sometimes you cannot believe your eyes.
Our pressure is unrelenting. Our will is unbending. Our desire unwavering. This is spellbinding, nerve-tingling, mesmerising football. This time, when the big players turned up, our big players turned the tide. Our big players turned it on.
City are level at the Bernabeu.
Our big players turned agonising defeat into tumultuous victory. This time, there is an unshakable, single-minded belief. A spirit unrivaled, a bond unbreakable. This city chased down the title.
And still, the champions of the land.
This team delivered the double.
City have scored already. Ilkay Gundogan tucks it in.
This time, it's different. This city, this team, this time.
Come on, that must have got you pumped up. Welcome to Matchday Live on this momentous occasion for Manchester City. We've all got our fingers crossed. Welcome along to the show. Today we bring the party to you, to our loyal fans, the anticipation, the excitement of one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game in world football. And of course, Manchester City are there. We can't wait. Of course, we're going to get round the globe as well. We've got fans from across the globe joining us on our fan wall there. Can any of you hear us? Give us a little wave. Have we got some of you guys? I know we're trying to reach across the globe at the moment. Maybe they can't quite connect with us just yet, but we will get to them shortly. As well as crossing to Istanbul, and of course the excitement there. We'll be at the Mayfield Market in Manchester, thousands gathering there to actually watch the game. So we'll be part of that excitement and get all the feedback from an amazing night there as well. Of course, we've got our studio guests, almost need no introduction, Karen Bardsley, Steve Howie as well. And I think we can mention the word treble now. Is that all right, Steve, or not?
Well, I mentioned it earlier when I've been doing these shows. I did mention it earlier. I know, obviously, you don't want to put the curse or, as I would say, the mockers on it. But City have been the best team so far this season. I think if they can do this tonight, for me, it's completely undeserved because they've just blown teams away. Even the big boys, when you look at Bayern Munich and what they did to Real Madrid, I mean, that was a special performance, Real Madrid. It's probably, I mean, I've been in football, I don't know about Karen, but we've both been in football a long, long time. But for me, that was the best performance I've ever seen a team at any level. But to be at that level, it just blew me away. So, you know, I'd imagine the Inter players would be looking at that game and thinking, wow. But, yeah, it's on, the treble's on.
Yeah, so he's saying the word. He's broken the rules. I'd imagine Pep, would Pep have said to the players, just don't say it, don't talk about it at all? Or do the shackles come off, Karen?
I just don't think they think about it in that way. I literally think they're very single-minded in their approach. It's just one thing at a time. So they've done the league, you know, practically in their sleep towards the second half of the season, obviously. Did the FA Cup, you know, United weren't anywhere near it, you know, and I think they can be so confident with the way that they've approached the latter half of this season. The group stages, you know, as Steve rightly said, you know, the harder side of the draw as well. So you've got the Bayern Munichs, put them to bed, no problem. Real Madrid, yeah, like
blew them away,
bouncing off left, right, and centre. So I'm feeling pretty confident about it.
It is one game from immortality, really, isn't it? If you look at what they're about to achieve, should they get over the line, Steve?
Yeah, I think that the important thing, Karen's mentioned it, which is absolutely right, and it is a saying, you've just got to play the game and not the occasion. What comes afterwards, then you let that soak in. They know, the players will know, pound for pound, player for player, they're better than Milan. And if they can perform, they'll win. Now, obviously, that win brings with it all the accolades and all the pats on the back and the history, which, you know, to be a professional footballer, to actually be a professional footballer for me is a feat. But to be a professional footballer, play at this level and to win a competition like this, you know, that's stuff for dreams. And they've got a great opportunity to do that.
Well, you can't do anything without being followed, can you, in this present day and age? And traffic's awful in Istanbul. I've been there. It's shocking. But these are live shots of the Inter team making their way to the stadium. We've seen lots of pictures of the City team. They look so chilled out, don't they?
They always do, don't they? They always do.
Is it like nothing's affecting them, Karen?
Well, I just think they're just so confident. They absolutely know that every single player they have on the pitch is interchangeable in terms of if someone comes off, if there's a tweak that needs to be made, like someone will come on and do the job. They've got the utmost confidence in every single player's capability, but they also have the confidence in the preparation that they've had from Pep. Like, he's such a details-orientated manager. He's instilled that in every single player as well. So I think they can all be incredibly confident that regardless of what Inter do tonight, they'll be prepared. So, yeah, if that's how they prepare and they're relaxed, and they continue to perform the way they have the rest, up until this point, then, yeah, carry on, please.
There's got to be some nerves. You're not telling me some of these players aren't on the bus feeling it now. I'm sure the Inter players must be anyway. Right, let's get over to the Ataturk Stadium. Inside there, with the absolute perfect view of the pitch and all the guests you want to hear from. Let's speak with Natalie.
So I am joined in our incredible pitchside studio here in Istanbul by two Manchester City legends. Of course, on this side, it is Sean Wright-Phillips. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Nat.
Lovely to have you here. And on this side, of course, the captain of our women's team, fresh from signing her new contract extension. It is Steph Horton. Steph, how's your trip so far?
Oh, it's been amazing. I think, obviously, such an honour to be here, and I think now we're here in the studio at the pitch side. It's just, okay, we just want to get the kick-off going now and just know the teams and just get so excited.
This studio, I just can't get over it, Sean. It's phenomenal. I mean, we're getting the best possible view of the game. It's just absolutely incredible in here. The atmosphere is already building up, but it's been an incredible atmosphere here all day and yesterday as well, hasn't it?
The City fans have come out in force, singing their hearts out, showing their support from few days before, and it's fantastic to see. I think I've had a few videos sent to me of the City fans on the bus on the way here singing, and it's delightful. I just, like Steph said, I can't wait for the game to kick off now. It seems like it's ages away, to be honest with you.
How excited / nervous are you, be honest?
I'm not actually nervous. I've got a similar feeling to that I had at the Real Madrid game, where I was quite calm, quite positive. I don't think it'll be an easy game, but I do think we win.
Oh my goodness. You see, the closer we get to kick-off, the more my stomach starts to jump. Steph, how about you? Excited, nervous? Where are you standing at the minute?
Excited, really. I think once the teams start a warm-up, I think that's when the nerves will kind of kick in. But no, I think the boys have done amazing this season to win the double so far, and I know how desperate we all are to get them to get their hands on this trophy, but I've got full confidence in them. So, yeah, I just can't wait for kick-off now. I'm just excited.
I'm so glad you're both here. I'm so glad you're both here with this positive attitude. I am really, really excited. Like, when you stop and you take it in and you think, we've already won the Premier League, we've already won the FA Cup, we're in the Champions League final for only the second time in our history. And if we win it, we do, and I'm going to start saying the word, if we win, we do a treble, which is, incredible. So there's only been 7 clubs that have done it before. Inter is actually one of the clubs that have done it before. But it would just be an insane achievement, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think just winning the Champions League alone, if we do it today, is going to be historic, and it's going to make the club so proud of all the lads and what they've done. But to know that you've already got the Premier League and then you've got the FA Cup in the bank, I think the boys will be just so desperate to get hands on another trophy, and it'll be absolutely unbelievable if they actually do that tonight.
I It feels like we just need to keep taking a moment to take in the occasion. Obviously, this is to say that the only second time we've ever been in the Champions League final. To get here, it's unbelievable, isn't it, Sean? The season that we're having, regardless of what happens tonight, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. I think if you look at the start of the season, like I had a conversation this afternoon with some of the boys, and I was saying it's almost like the way the season started to where it is now. It was all planned. It was all strategized to get to this point, this minute, this moment today at that peak level of performance. And I think they're in great form. They know they've got the experience of being here, so I think they'll take it all in that stride.
Have you got any worry? My only slight concern is the way that this has been building up and the narrative around the fact that many people feel like we just need to turn up and we're going to lift the trophy. And we know that is absolutely not the case. You know, Inter are here for a reason. We know how good they are, specifically in cup competitions as well, which they've had great success at back in Italy this season. I don't want there to be any complacency within the fans or within the players. Do you think there's any chance of that?
No. I think with a manager like Pep, and the way the team had drilled the whole backroom staff, they will know what it's going to take them to be near perfect to win this game. They'll come out with that same performance, that same attitude they did against Real Madrid at home, and hopefully they'll get the job done.
And these are the games, Steph, I guess. These are the games as a player that you dream of. I imagine you dream of them when you're growing up, you dream of them now. So for these players, this is going to be a special occasion, and I'm sure that they want to show the world how good we are as a team and how good they are individually as well.
Yeah, we're fortunate enough to watch them every single week back in England, and it's like you watch the way that they play and the football they've been playing, and I think them lessons that they made, the lads that were there who played in the Porto Champions League final, I'm sure they are so desperate to kind of put things right. But I think in terms of my confidence towards the team and the lads, it's because of how they've played, and no matter what any team's thrown at them, we look at Real Madrid, we look at Arsenal at home in the Premier League, and we manage to solve problems, and Pep's putting the teams out to win, which is fantastic. So, yeah, I mean, the boys are going to be used to this experience now, and hopefully that can kind of have one over on Inter Milan tonight.
I do want to tell you all as well that, of course, it's Champions League final. The world's media is here this evening, and our studio, unbelievable, by the way. I think we've definitely got the best. Well done, City. But we've seen people, haven't we? So you can't see, but just over the edge down here, tell everybody who we are looking down on, Sean.
Obviously, we got Mario Balotelli down there. We got Cesc Fabregas, Rio Ferdinand, wherever he's hiding, and of course Julian Lescott. Then we next to us, and we got Jamie Carragher, Thierry Henry, Micah Richards. Can't get any better than that, and we got the air conditioner as well to make it better. So they're down there sweating, by the way.
Yes, Thierry Henry and Micah Richards came into our studio before because we've got the air conditioning. Very excited to see Mario down there as well. Of course, Mario always plays a huge part in the history of this club. And if you think back that to now 11 years ago to his assist to where we are now, Sean, what a journey.
Do you know, it makes it even worse. That was his only assist ever for City as well. Yes. That one assist that he did, but it turned the tide and it's changed the table, and the club's just grown and got bigger and better, and just brought more success. That what the fans deserve for me, I think. I said it yesterday. I think a lot of this should go to the fans and the backroom staff that prepare the team to be able to play these back-to-back games, because they can't do it on their own.
Yeah, the fans have been absolutely incredible, always are incredible, but particularly on this trip. I mean, we went out yesterday to an event and we ran into thousands and thousands and thousands of City fans in Istanbul. It was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nothing that I've ever seen before in my life, and that just kind of just typifies this club. We don't do things by halves, and all them fans in that street, I don't actually know how we even got into the place, to be honest. I'm still thinking about it now, but yeah, absolutely unbelievable atmosphere, and I can't wait to see them fill this stadium tonight.
Honestly, I was basically a bodyguard last night. Let Steph through, let Sean through, and we had Paul Dickov with us, we had Ian Bisham with us. It was incredible. Yes, the Blues in Istanbul have been absolutely and utterly fantastic. So we will bring you all of the atmosphere, all of the build-up from inside this glorious, glorious stadium. It's starting to fill up now as we count down to kick off in the Champions League final. We'll go back to the studio.
Absolutely can't wait. Sean doing his star spotting. The guys here can't believe it. They're going, look at them, where's their ticket? Don't worry, we've traded it off for 2 buckets of beer for you instead. You'll be fine with that. We're being joined by people from all over the globe. We will chat with a few of them very shortly. Let's just have a word or two about the road to Istanbul and, you know, how it sort of manufactured itself. The group stage was significant at points, wasn't it? How did you felt City cope throughout that group stage, Karen?
Yeah, really confident. Some really good performances. I think they grew over the course of it, though. But I think the standout to me was certainly one of the games that I was in studio to watch was, I believe it was Sevilla at home, and Rico Lewis, obviously, getting his debut in the Champions League start, and obviously getting on the score sheet as well. So that was a big moment for me. That certainly stood out.
Yeah, the Rico Lewis story, it's amazing, isn't it? You know,
really
youngest person to score on his debut in the competition. But his City's route, I think the game that stood out to me was Manchester City 2, Dortmund 1. We had John Stones' screamer, followed by that ridiculous, I don't know what, scissor kick? What do you call it? From, you know, Erling Haaland.
Improvisation.
It was improvisation.
Improvisation, but on the highest level possible for that.
It was
goal.
Ludicrous, wasn't it? Could you have got your body to do that, Steve?
Well, I'd have gotten there, but I'd have been out for a year, I think. That the physio would have been on to cart me off. But, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, every game, when you're playing in the Champions League, you know, people might sort of say, oh, you know, they'll look at the group stage and they'll sort of say, well, they should beat them, they should be. These are teams that perform so well in their sort of country leagues. You know, so, and every one of them is a potential banana skin, and everybody expects Man City to win, but they've gone out there and they've done it, you know, so professionally well, and then ultimately got to the other stages, and as Karen says, actually got better and better and better as the competition went on.
Yeah, and one man who scored more and more and more was Erling Haaland, wasn't it? We've had eyes on him all season, thinking, is he really going to live up to this billing? 52 goals in total. I mean, it beggars belief, doesn't it?
It really does. Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, I remember watching the Dortmund game. You know, we obviously got his leg up, you know, to the clouds. I still don't know to this day how he did it. But yeah, that was certainly unbelievable. It just seems to be everywhere. I mean, it's obviously like the deliveries into the area. But he's just a poacher. Like, he just seems to know like where he needs to be and how to get on the end of everything. But I think what's been so interesting about Haaland and how he's, you know, adapted was there's a lot of criticism around when he joined the team, and was it going to destabilize the team? Now they have an out-and-out 9, but actually, like, Pep's managed to shape the team to work to his strengths as well. So I think it's not just Haaland, it's everyone else that's been able to adapt and adjust to his strengths. So, yeah, absolutely terrifying. I mean, just look at that, 12 goals.
There you go, at such a young age. And, of course, 5 goals in one game, which at the time was sort of hard to digest. I mean, I remember thinking, is he going to get 6, 7? He almost looked unstoppable, didn't he?
I know, but I suppose the silly thing about that is I wasn't shocked. Because, you know, he is a player that you just know he's just a threat. He's a threat, a constant threat. And as a defender, you're thinking there's a weakness somewhere for a player. He's maybe he's not good on his left foot or his right foot, or he's not the best in the air. Maybe he's not the strongest. Maybe he's not the quickest. You can, as a defender, coming up against him, you're looking at that kind of what's his kind of negativity. And you're not ticking any boxes here. You're thinking, I've got my work cut out. And obviously that's proven because he plays a type of football defenders don't like. You know, defenders have been used to, not back in the day because it was back in the day, but he is a throwback at times to a back in the day striker, which is hands-on, aggressive. He'll throw you about just as much as what, you know, you want to do to him. And he's up for the tussle. He said, all right, bring it on. You know, before we had centre-forwards that like to come deep and just get the ball, and they might want to turn or lay it off and then get back and then use their good movement and cleverness, sharpness in the box just to get that yard and get the goal. He will do that, but he'll fight with you as well.
He's a bit of a throwback, isn't he? He definitely is. Now, look, if you're going to get to the final, you're going to face some big sides, aren't you? So, quarterfinals, semi-finals, you know, for Manchester City. They faced two of the big dogs, really, didn't they? And dealt with them in sort of imperious manner, form.
Yeah, I mean, even if you think about the RB Leipzig game, I think there was a bit of a, you know, uncertainty around what we were going to get out of that particular fixture. And, you know, I think it ended up being 1-1, didn't it, the first leg, and kind of took City by surprise. But again, you know, the determination to obviously get through to the next round, I mean, just thinking back to it now, the fact that it was Bayern Munich, and, you know, it just kind of made them seem like they were just, I don't know, just like maybe a bottom half of the Prem type of team.
Yeah,
and the same for like what we spoke about earlier, Steve, around Real Madrid and how, a team with such prestige and history in this particular competition, and how they've, like tossed the likes of PSG aside and so on and so forth, and absolutely just turned him over. And I've never seen Manchester City or any other team dominate Real Madrid in that way. So yeah, it was certainly an awe-inspiring performance.
If you're Inter Milan, because a lot of people have maybe compared this to Liverpool AC Milan in 2005, where one was an extreme underdog against the other. Is there any sort of similarity here? Are Inter Milan as far off as Liverpool were back in 2005?
I think they'll be quietly confident. I mean, they'll know what they've got in the dressing room, and they've getting there through deservedly being there. They've showed grit and determination at times. They've obviously got vital goals. They know, though, going into this, they're the underdog. So the manager will probably just sort of saying, listen, use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
Try and upset them. You know what Italian teams are like? They're very defensive. They can be very defensive. Sort of, let's frustrate Manchester City. Can we catch them on the counter-attack? Can we get something from a set play? As I said, the manager be getting the players will be talking amongst themselves. Let's just try and upset them a little bit. There can be sometimes play acting that goes on as well, which can kind of disrupt the game. They're brilliant at it, actually, the masters at it. So they'll have a game plan, 100%, but they know they're not the favourites, but they'll still fancy the chances.
But it might work for them. Look, there we go, the traffic again, causing all sorts of chaos.
I don't know where the police escort
there.
This is a live shot of the Manchester City team. I don't think
on the hard shoulder.
the police out there are helping in any way, are they? The barren wastelands that surround the Ataturk Stadium. Of course, this is the venue that should have held this final a couple of years ago and called off because of COVID a couple of times. So it's finally getting to stage it once again. But you can see that City bus trying to snake all the way up to that stadium. There's something quite magical about this as a destination for a final, Karen.
Well, I wouldn't know. I've never been. But yeah, it certainly looks like quite the atmosphere, and everything we've heard up until this point, from the likes of my friends Steph and Esme out there, they've both said that the atmosphere has been incredible. We saw the scenes before the match as well, but I mean, Istanbul and Turkey is itself is a country full of just like football fanatics, so I imagine it's going to be an amazing experience tonight. But I mean, it's the Champions League final, so everyone's going to be up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just can't wait, really. What a showpiece we've actually got on our hands tonight, because we've got two varying stories that can actually result out of this. Obviously, we just hope that Manchester City produce something very special.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, it's the stuff of dreams. When you're growing up as a kid, boy or girl, you want to play at the highest level. These have got this opportunity. I mean, in all fairness, every game that I played in, and no matter which kind of, whether it was in the Premier League, whether it was in the Championship, whether it was in the Champions League, whether it was an FA Cup or whatever it was, there's always a split second I'd give myself where I would take it all in and think, wow, look where you are, and be so appreciative of that. And basically sort of saying to myself, I know we're a little bit nervous, I know we've got a big game ahead, but enjoy it. Because these kind of occasions do not come around very often, if at all, for some players, some top players as well.
When would you do that? What was your routine? My
routine normally was, if I wasn't captain, so I've got to do that, I would do it just before. But when you come out with both teams and you're having a little kick about, then the referee would blow the whistle, and if you're captain, you've got to go up. Obviously, I know I'm captain before I do that. But if I am captain, whilst we're kicking the ball about and I've got the mascot and stuff like that, I'll just give myself 10 seconds just to sort of just breathe in and think, wow, this is absolutely so good. I'm so lucky to be in this kind of situation.
To just be part of it. Would you ever have those moments?
Yeah, I mean, I always try to do it like when the teams arrive, and then you get out and you kind of walk the pitch a little bit, and I always try to visualize, what it would look and feel like beforehand, and then actually being able to see it, before the crowd gets in, and kind of right, okay, this is setting the tone for me. And then when you walk out the tunnel and all the fans are there and the noise and the atmosphere and the flags are going and, whatever's going on, smoke machines or whatever, it's just like, right, okay, here we go. It's hard not to get up for. I mean, you almost have to calm yourself down, don't you, a little bit? But yeah, it's so important, I think, for players just to understand, okay, you don't want to get carried away in the moment, but it's important to remember what that feels like.
That's what you're in it for, isn't it? Right, we've got lots of fans joining us. You'll probably see in the top right-hand corner there a couple of different generations, Ian and Noah. Yeah. So Ian on the right-hand side, that's Noah giving us a little wave. Hiya, guys, you okay? We excited? We've got Algeria, Malaysia. Where's Algeria? Can you give us a shout?
Is that down there?
Oh, Algeria. I think that might have just frozen there. But you can see from around the world.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And as well as that, let's go closer afield. Let's go to the Mayfield depot. Our own Stephen's there.
Hello from Manchester. I'm here at Mayfield Depot for what could be a very, very special and memorable party here in Manchester. Over 6,000 City fans will be joining me tonight here behind me there. See those massive screens? That is where we could witness history. 6,000 people, over 6,000 people will be singing, they'll be celebrating. I know you've got it good in Istanbul and it's all glorious, but this, to me, this is our home and this is where I want to be tonight. I can't wait to see all these exciting but also terrified faces at the same time. City, of course, are a club close to our hearts, and it's going to be a wonderful atmosphere tonight. It's going to be wonderful. We've got the VIP stage right next to us, and of course over there, so I'll be trying to hunt down some very special guests. We've got a DJ. We've got, obviously, the wonderful stage with the big screens. We've got food. We've got drinks for people. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a wonderful night, and it's going to be hopefully something to remember. Now, of course, this is a chance for Manchester City to win a treble. This kind of stuff doesn't happen very often. I think everyone in this room tonight is going to be aware that they could be about to witness something very memorable, very, very wonderful, very incredible, the kind of thing that they'll tell their kids one day, you know. And even though it isn't, of course, Istanbul, this is Manchester City's home, you know, and I think that's going to mean an awful lot to people. I'm hoping when this team news comes out, I've got a feeling this room will be absolutely buzzing. There'll be a real sense of excitement, and I think, to be honest, people are very, very, very excited for this game and feeling very confident. Anyway, guys, from Manchester back to Istanbul.
Thanks, Stephen. Cannot wait to see how busy it's going to get in Depot Mayfield a little bit later on. And it's starting to get really busy inside the stadium now. As you can see, blue seats, blue and white flags on all the seats. City fans starting to come in. On this side of us, that is the Inter fans. They're a lot earlier than us, to be honest. We were laughing a minute ago, weren't we, Sean?
Well, the blue fans are just enjoying the outside, the sun, enjoying the fan zone. And getting ready for the game, basically.
Yeah, the Blues are really taking every minute. I think a lot of them are still in the fan zone, but there's still time. There's still time. The atmosphere is building in here. There is anticipation. There is excitement. The nerves in my stomach are starting to jump, but I cannot wait now because we're really starting to take in how momentous this occasion is, aren't we, Steph? As we see the world media, the fans, everything that's going on behind us, it's incredible.
Yeah, I think any final is incredible, but I think the journey that these boys have been on, it makes it even more special. Not even just this team, but the club itself. I think not even just these last 10 years. I think when Sean played, all the other club legends that we were out with last night. The club is absolutely amazing from top to bottom, and these finals are what all that hard work's for, and they just got to take it all in. You're making me a little bit nervous, actually, when I'm speaking. No, but look, I'm excited. I know we all are, but hopefully we can get a hand on that trophy down there.
When I start to get nervous, though, I just refresh myself on, obviously, the world-class team and the world-class players that we have. Yes, which always helps. And the fact, Sean, we've got so many players in our team that have won multiple Premier Leagues, 5. Phil Foden, 5 Premier Leagues, Kevin De Bruyne, 5 Premier Leagues, Kyle Walker. They've won multiple trophies. Will that help tonight? Obviously, none of them, with the exception of Scott Carson, who's won a Champions League, but the fact that they're multiple trophy winners in other areas. Does that help?
I think it will help in respects of going into this game, but I still think in this game, this sort of pressure is a little bit different. I think it's a trophy that all the teams want to win, especially us. And I think, but like I said before earlier in the show, I just personally think they're at the right place right now. And everything just feels right, down to all the organisation, the amount of City people that are out there, backroom staff, families. Like, it just feels like this year's going to be the year.
It really does. There really does feel like there's something in the air, and there is actually a sense of calm, really. We noticed it amongst the fans when we've been out, noticed it amongst the staff as well, a sense of calm. In terms of yourself, Steph, obviously you're a leader, captain as well. I think something else that always makes me feel a bit calmer is when I think about the leaders that we have on the pitch. We have that incredible leadership team. Ilkay Gundogan is an incredible captain. How does having such a strong leadership team help on an occasion like this?
I think, like what Sean said, in terms of the experience of previous finals, winning trophies, I think that's what makes the leaders what they are, because they can use that experience. For the young players that are coming through, the likes of Rico Lewis, to be an occasion like this, he must be thinking, oh my God, what am I doing here? But he's earned that right. And for them leaders, like we speak about Ilkay, I think he's not obviously probably a vocal captain, but I think especially over the last few games, he's really led by example. He's when we need him, and then moments are coming, he's taking them chances. And I think for me, Ruben Diaz has been absolutely amazing since Christmas. I think to have someone like him that's able to organise not just the players around him, but from Haaland down to Edison, and I think it's really impressive what he does in terms of his positivity, his body language, and that's right to show. But look, I think these lads have had so much experience over the last couple of years, and they'll all lead in different ways, but we've got a special group of captains, that's for sure.
Now, you mentioned Ruben Diaz there, and I think our entire defence has been so impressive this year, of course, as a defender yourself as well. I've always enjoyed how attacking City have been in recent years, how many goals we've scored. But this year, I think myself and a lot of the fans, we've taken huge pride in how strong we've been defensively, and how many of the players that we have now, they're out and out defenders, like old school defenders, and I love it.
Yeah, I think that just kind of, when I look at how City have kind of progressed over the last few years, I think we've always been a team that scores goals, and we've always played really good football, and that's why we are one of the best teams in Europe. But I think for me, it's that clinicalness, so in terms of can we keep the ball at the back of the net and we don't give the opponent any chances, because when you do play top teams like Inter Milan, they are going to get a moment and they're going to get a spell in the game where sometimes we're going to have to ride it out. I look back at Real Madrid away, and there's moments in that game where we conceded one, but we could easily conceded a second and a third goal. But it's like that, like the pride in kind of defending and making sure we win our 1v1s. And like you said, the lads have been fantastic at the back. No matter what back four Pep plays, anyone that comes in really does a job.
And we're going to have to be defensively sharp tonight as well, of course, Sean. They have up front a man that we know very, very well, of course, Edin Dzeko, part of that 2012 winning team, was adored by the fans when he was at City. And I'm sure tonight he's just going to want to remind us all how good he was and is.
Yeah, most definitely. No, if you know Edin, you'll know what he's like as soon as he crosses that white line. I think no matter how much love he might have for City, we're his worst enemies at the minute. And I think the fact that we play the way we do is fantastic this year, especially more so, I think, because for the first time I feel like City can play every style of football very, very well, whereas before there would be elements like on transition. We never used to be that good at it. We fixed that. Defending corners, we wasn't that good at it. We got better at that. So for me, we can play long ball, short passes, counter-attack. We can play any game. So it's going to be an interesting game because we know we're going to have a lot of the ball. And we just have to worry about them hitting us on the break, because that's basically how they play.
Yeah, we're expecting to have a lot of the possession today in terms of the way that we play, but also we know in the terms of the way that they play as well. On that counter, of course, they've got Edin Dzeko, but they've also got Martinez, who is a World Cup winner, just like our boy Julian Alvarez. There will be a World Cup winner and a Champions League winner from one of the teams today. And of course, as well, they've got Romelu Lukaku, who we know very well from his time in England as well. So they are a threat, and we are going to have to be really careful on that counter.
Yeah, we definitely do. I think the one thing with Dzeko, you know, if the ball goes up to him, it sticks, so it'll be easier for everybody to make those runs off of him. But I think with Rom, it's more of a different obstacle, because he will try to hold up, but with the idea of trying to get in behind. So it'll be interesting to see the way they play, to be honest with you. But as long as we do our job, and it'll be nice to get an early goal, because then I think Inter Milan have to come out and play, which makes the game more exciting in general anyways.
When you say early, with 13 seconds okay for you? Would that be all right?
I was looking more like 5.
5, okay. Great. An early goal is no longer 13 seconds. Sean, Steph, thank you so much. The atmosphere is truly building in here. It's absolutely incredible. I'm so happy that we can share this moment with you all. And of course, FG is here as well. He's been outside the stadium seeing what guests and seeing what VIPs he can grab. So FG, what else is coming up on the show?
Coming up on Matchday Live, our European away day specialist Naden has spent the budget roaming around the beautiful, historic city of Istanbul. We hear from the manager Pep Guardiola and captain Ilkay Gundogan. Back home in Manchester, there is a special screening taking place, and we have Stephen McNerney to share the atmosphere. Erling Haaland set Manchester and Europe alight with his goals as we take a look back to where it all began. And we are attempting to play City Legends Bingo as Istanbul is swarming with so many superstars and fan favourites from City's past and present. We're going to try our best to get them on Matchday Live tonight and of course chalk them off our Matchday Live bingo card.
Well, I think we know why you two aren't out there, because it looks like Nedham's blown the budget. So I can't wait to see that VT of what he's been up to.
So selfish.
Unbelievable. It is very selfish. Look, you'd have seen on the pictures behind Natalie, there was a big plume of smoke. We don't know what it is. We just certainly hope everyone is OK. I'm sure sort of more stuff will come out on that front. We'll get the team news very shortly indeed. We're probably not expecting changes maybe from the FA Cup final, but we will find out. We'll get it from Ali Man. Before we get there, Pep... what a manager. He's got to be treated as, you know, amongst the greatest, hasn't he? Innovator, someone who's changed tactics, moved with the times, bought brilliantly. Is there anything he hasn't done well?
No. I mean, I really fail to find something that he hasn't done. I think particularly this season, he's been absolutely unbelievable in you know, the problems that he's been able to solve, whether it's, you know, players that are unhappy and making sure that the squad is managed well, or if it's, you know, adjusting an entire group of people to one person's strength and you know, there's been a number of like injuries that he's had to deal with, and he knows his players' strengths, doesn't he? And he knows how to get the best out of his team. And I think like if everything goes well tonight, then he will be absolutely, well, he already is, you know, a part of City's history. But you know, to bring the treble to this club, he will be just forever immortalised.
Yeah, because it's almost ridiculous, isn't it, that people have that conversation and say, only if he wins the treble does he become part of that sort of pantheon of grace.
Yeah, I don't buy into that. I don't buy into that at all. It's just like, you know, you're sort of saying, you know, a team that wins different things, then all of like 1 year they mightn't win it. Does that class them as failures? No, it doesn't. Because you can't win all the time. It's impossible. In sport, you don't win all the time, whether it's week in, week out, or, you know, at the end of the season with trophies. So, of course, people, you know, the haters will always sort of say, well, he's a good manager because of the finances he's being given and stuff like that. Man City haven't spent as much as what other teams have, and they haven't been able to do what Pep's been able to do. I think when you do buy these players, keeping these kind of players on board is a huge thing to do, because it's very easy for players thinking, I've been bought for a lot of money, I'm going to throw my dummy out the pram now because I'm not playing and stuff like that. He gets everybody on board. He makes sure everybody knows their kind of role to the minutest of details. I just think his attention to detail and everything about him is just absolutely first class.
And delivering season after season, the consistency is the hardest part of all this. If I give you a stat, Karen, so it'll be the 413th time he's chosen a team, and he's looking for his 300th victory.
Goodness.
So, you know, any team would sort of dream of these stats.
No, it's frightening, really, and I think Steve's hit the nail on the head as well. His attention to detail, and you know, he loves the game so much that he's obsessed by every single potential permutation that he can think of. You know, how do I destabilize the opponent? You know, and it seems to me like he takes such pleasure in thinking about how he can, you know, create those different overloads, like how he can create control in every aspect of the game, whether it be in the defensive third or, you know, the middle or the attacking third as well. And his goal, it's like his quest in not only winning, you know, every single trophy he can, is just dominating every single opponent as well. And it just seems to me like that is kind of filtered down from him into the rest of the team and how they approach everything that they do. I think we had Kyle Walker on not too long ago, didn't we? And he was, you know, saying about how they take everything one step at a time. Everything's very detailed and very pragmatic, and they're not looking too far ahead. And I think you can feel that kind of quiet confidence emanating from the whole squad. So, yeah, he's an unbelievable manager. Any you know, if people say they wouldn't want him at their club, they're absolutely having you on, because he's just been so fantastic at this club and everywhere he's been in the past as well.
And everything he's done is sort of built arguably to tonight. He's learned everything there is to know about not winning it, hasn't he, in the past couple of years? Look, I think we've actually got the team news, so let's head to the Ataturk Stadium and get that all-important 11 from Ali Man.
So we just had a few seconds to digest the team news. The interesting thing is at the back, City are Ederson, Diaz, Stones, Ake, Gundogan, Haaland, Grealish, Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva and Manuel Akanji. Any surprises for you, Andy?
Well, I think the standout surprise is maybe Walker. You know, the people I spoke with, we were deciding whether it would be Akanji and Ake, and which way would he go, but you know, he's gone with, and it'll be Akanji on the right, Diaz through the middle, Ake on the left, and John Stones doing his role out of possession, maybe dropping back into a make back four, in possession, going in to create that box in midfield. So that's the only surprise for me. It looks strong, and yeah, I feel for Kyle because of the part he played against Real Madrid. He was phenomenal, but the manager's got to make big decisions.
Other than that, was that pretty much the 11 that you had?
I thought we could have literally from Rodri forward, we could have said it without even the team, because that seems to be the go-to. The balance is so good with Jack pushing high, Silva giving a bit more of a balance out of possession, and obviously the 2-10s with Gundogan and De Bruyne. It's the go-to for me, where we have seen over the last few months in the big games. That's the sort of front six players.
We'll talk about Inter in a few minutes' time, but when you look at Inter, what about City's side is the sort of selection all about in terms of combating them? Where do you see that?
There's always going to be respect for the opposition, but I still feel it's about us, Ali, and it's about what City do. And they will dominate the ball, dominate possession, and its key areas will be the turnover, when not to give the ball away, stating the obvious. But, DiMarco and Dumfries are phenomenal on the turnover. They remind me of the two wing-backs at Brentford, who have just got a net. They switch and they go straight away. And it's not as though they're even waiting for possession to be good before they go. They take off. That's where the threat goes. They create a four with whether it's Lukaku and Dzeko and then Martinez. So they get four players high very early. And it's a major threat. And we'll have to adapt and deal with that, whether with the shape of City, whether it'll be Grealish or Silva passing on to Ake and onto Akanji, or whether they'll be tracking. How far do they go? So that you can then counter the counter-attack.
OK, thanks. Those are the thoughts of Andy. We'll have the Inter information for you in just a few minutes' time.
Right, so we have that City team. So Ake's in there. No start for Walker. Other than that, it's the players that started the cup final. Of course, not the keeper, because Ederson's back in goal tonight. What do we make of the City 11?
Yeah, I think we're all a bit kind of surprised that Walker obviously isn't involved in the starting 11 tonight, but I still think Ake is a fantastic 1v1 defender, and he's proven that over the course of the entire season. So I think there's no doubt in my mind that he'll slot right in. It's just we might end up having to solve some problems, in terms of getting forward a little bit differently, but it's nothing we haven't seen. Obviously the likes of Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne in the right side half space, I'm sure he'll do just fine as well. And with Silva and Grealish, just keeping the height high and wide, there'll be plenty of space and there'll be loads of opportunities to get on the ball, because I think ultimately we'll be playing against a mid to low block as well in Inter.
Which they're more than used to, City. I mean, they've had a couple of problems, haven't they, playing against teams with that low block sometimes. But
because it's difficult to break down.
Yeah.
Getting men behind the ball, and you've got to be patient. And teams can make it difficult. I mean, obviously, it will be great if we get the first goal, because then they have to come out a little bit. But obviously, just getting back to the Kyle Walker thing, a little bit surprised. There was talk he'd missed a training session, but then everything came out as though, listen, just needed an extra day off and stuff like that. So we all expected him to play. But
you think he's a big miss?
I think he's a big miss. But I think, I don't think they've got anybody with blistering pace. So like kind of Vinicius Jr. at Real Madrid, for instance, we all know he is lightning, but he's not as quick as Kyle. And Kyle's proven that as well, obviously, in that game. So I think the manager might be a little bit cautious, possibly with this injury. But having said that, the lads coming in, they've had fantastic seasons. I mean, Nathan Ake, I said last week, yes, of course, you can give the Player of the Year to De Bruyne or Gundogan or Haaland. I actually said Nathan Ake, because I think he's been absolutely outstanding. Just gone underneath the radar, but players can't get past him on a 1v1. He's been absolutely brilliant. He joins in, he's nicked the odd goal. But it's still a very, very good team. I mean, it's pretty much the team that we expected, as I said, apart from Kat.
What a squad he's got at his disposal. I mean, look, if Phil Foden can't get in a starting 11...
Scary, isn't it?
There isn't another team Phil Foden wouldn't get into, is there?
No, it is terrifying. I think it speaks a lot, again, to the management of these players, that obviously are so keen to play every single minute they can. But I think you have to understand, though, as a sub, that it's uncertain if you are going to get the opportunity, but if you do, obviously you need to make as much impact as possible. And we know that anyone that comes off the bench is more than capable of doing that, But yeah, I think tonight will just be about getting as much control as possible, in terms of like Aki, you know what you're going to get out of him. He's not probably going to get forward very much, but like he'll be consistent, in like Steve said, winning his 1v1 duels as well. But yeah, like even, Mahrez, I think he's had some tough luck in terms of getting in the squad in the latter stages of the season. But again, what Silva brings is a lot more control going forward, and he's consistent in terms of the work that he does behind the ball as well. So I think that's what he'll be looking for tonight.
Of course, we've just seen the shots of the players coming in there. Not much chat between them, is there? Everyone in their own sort of zone, lots of headphones. Were you a headphone man? Walkman back then, was it?
Walkman?
Yeah, I was going to say it. Not them kind. They weren't invented then.
Stitched you up.
Yeah, a little Walkman thing. I can remember.
Yeah.
Listen, players...
Is that what you want to be, in your own space when you're coming into the final?
Everybody's different. I mean, some players like to chat. Some people like to be on their own. Some people like to just get in a zone and just, like, block themselves away. Everybody's different. I mean, me personally, I didn't wear my Walkman. I didn't have earphones on. I just wanted to be present and aware and just seeing what's going on and listening to things. But everybody's different. As I said, you get in the dressing room, Karen will tell you about in the dressing room with herself, everybody's got their little routines and it's whatever makes them happy.
Right. Your routine?
I had all sorts of different ones. Like, say, 2015 World Cup, I brought a baseball glove, two baseball gloves, and we used to go out on the pitch before the game and just, like, chuck a ball around.
What's that about?
For me, it was like just switching off from kind of like the potential of putting pressure on yourself. So we go out there, have a laugh, have a chat, that sort of thing. And then like once I got in the changing room, it was all like music was on, just trying to stay as relaxed as possible. Because I think when you're in a fun, like relaxed state, you play a lot better than kind of being too tense. So for me, it was always about getting a good atmosphere and a good vibe.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. It sounds right, doesn't it? Let's get to our fan wall. Can we do that? Yeah, where can we go to in the world? We've got some official supporters clubs. Let's go to Noah and Ian. There you go. I think Ian's got decades of City memories in his memory bank, and he's absolutely desperate that Noah sees some glory tonight. Ian, what do we think of the team?
The team picks itself. I mean, like you say, Steve Howie talks about Ake. For me, he's been the player of the season. He'll fit in. I don't see a problem. Not a problem.
Not a problem. Noah, what about you? What does tonight mean to you? Because, of course, if you look at Ian's had times where he's really had to struggle through supporting City, hasn't he? But all you've known, Noah, is glory.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a really good match. I think it's going to be quite hard for City because it's all I know, but I think they'll win in the end.
You do. And you're a big Edison fan, aren't you? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm very...
Oh, we just lost the word, but I think that was
there
right.
He is. Look at
he's got his lucky shirt on.
Brilliant.
Dad, is that a lucky bucket hat, Ian?
Yeah, my bucket hat's been everywhere. It's got the old badge in it here. I know.
Oh my gosh, I got everything.
We finally got a new one.
I don't think there isn't one.
But probably like myself, but there you go.
Guys, have an amazing night. He's got his lucky hat on. We'll try and get to some other places around the world. I don't think there's anything that Ian hasn't seen Manchester City-wise by the look of him.
Yeah.
Some of the memorabilia are in there. Look at this. So this is some live shots from outside the Ataturk, and there's the Mayfield depot where people are turning up. The anticipation is absolutely massive. We will have that Inter Milan team news for you. When are we going to get that? Not quite yet. Instead, we're going to head to the studio at the Ataturk Stadium. Let's get to where East meets West. And Nat is there.
So the team news is out, and I don't know if, like me, you immediately went to see, is Rodri playing? Yes, Rodri is playing in a Champions League final, and I feel relaxed now I've seen that. Of course, the big news, one change from the team that beat Real Madrid. So Kyle Walker drops to the bench, Manuel Akanji is in, and we think a straight swap there. Will he be playing on the right?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, Stefan obviously was talking off there that we believe that he will go in right back position, but I am really surprised that Walker's on the bench. Obviously, there might be something to do with a niggle or an injury, but yeah, I'm kind of gutted for him.
We know that he did have an injury earlier in the week. Pep had mentioned that he wasn't training. Do you think this could just be as simple as Pep doesn't feel that he is fully fit for the game, or do you think it could be tactical?
To be honest, I think it must be something to do with his injury, because the way that Kyle Walker's performed over the last few games, and especially in Champions League, he's been absolutely amazing. The home leg against Real Madrid, he was up there as one of our best players, and I'm actually really gutted for him, because I know how much this competition probably means to him in terms of last year in the Champions League he struggled with an ankle injury when he was playing against Madrid away, and yeah, he'll be disappointed, but I think this is the strength of the squad, is that you can bring someone in like Nathan Ake, who comes back in at probably left back, and Akanji that'll go right back, and I still remain confident even though he's not playing, but it is a shame for him not to see him on the team sheet.
Yeah, and he's such a leader. He's been such a huge part of this club. What do we think it means? Any differences in the way that we will play by not having Walker and by having Akanji in that right position? How do you think it might change our approach?
To be honest, I don't think it'll change our approach. I think we've done that previously, where Kanji's played right back and Stones has kept going into midfield, and we've seen how well Nathan Ake has done this season in left back and his 1v1 defending, but also getting forward. And me and Sean were talking about, we've got 4 out-and-out defenders there in the back, and maybe that might be to do with maybe the way that Inter Milan play in terms of the transition, and we need to be defensively solid, and that just adds that little bit more in terms of you've got someone that likes to defend, and it takes all that they want to do to keep the ball out of the net, and hopefully we can get a clean sheet tonight. But yeah, it's such a surprise. And I think once we got the team sheet, we were like, okay, well, you've got such a good replacement that's coming in.
I imagine a year ago, Sean, if I'd have said to you that we'd be playing in a Champions League final with no natural fullbacks and 4 central defenders, and that we all felt fine about it, you'd have thought we were crazy.
Yeah, most definitely. It's interesting, but if you think of the run that City went on within the Premier League, that's how they did it, with 4 centre-backs playing. So he's shown and proven that it works the way Pep likes to play football, so why not do it in a cup final, in the Champions League final, sorry.
So looking a bit further up the pitch as well, obviously we've got Kevin De Bruyne, Ilkay Gundogan. We know how phenomenal Ilkay's been towards the end of the season, and we know how phenomenal Kev is in the big games, so we feel nice and strong in that centre of the park.
Yeah, I think that the synergy and everything, the way they've been playing, it seems to all be coming together. I think that seeing Haaland's runs a lot more. They're trying to get him the ball if possible. I think Jack's been unbelievable as well this season. So he's going to give Dumfries a run for his money as well. And I think with Bernardo, you just know what you get. You have to try and get the ball off him first, but you know he can attack as well as he defends. So I'm really looking forward to the game.
Yeah, you know you're going to get somebody that's not going to stop running for the entire game and beyond as well. And I joke about Rodri at the start, but he's such a pivotal player in this team, Steph. I always think that, you know, for me, he's pretty much the first name on the team sheet, because so much of what we do centres around him and his ability in that position. How happy, how relieved are you to see that he is starting tonight?
I never had any doubt that he was never going to start. That, you'll be glad to know. But yeah, no, all them things that you've said in terms of the way that City players and Pep's team have played in the past, it is revolved around that midfielder that can get on the ball, can play to De Bruyne, to play to Ilkay, and can get other people into the box, but also that defensive security that when they do break, he's now physically able to get around them players and get the ball back. He has been amazing, I think, against Bayern Munich at home, to score that amazing goal as well. I think that kind of just typified his season, that everything he seems to touch was just going where he wanted to go. And yeah, he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet for Pep this season.
And I love the fact that you remind me that incredible goals can come from anywhere on the pitch for us. But of course, the main man that's been getting the goals, Erling Haaland. There was a wonderful quote in Pep's press conference this week, Sean, where a journalist asked him about the fact that Erling's not been scoring as much lately. And Pep replied saying that if he was questioning Erling's scoring ability, he'd be a lonely man. So we have no worries. I imagine he's absolutely relishing the opportunity to play in a Champions League final in his first season and at such a young age.
Yeah, if you hear him speak, he'll tell you this is one of his dreams he's always wanted to accomplish, was to play in, obviously, a Champions League final. I think people worrying about him not scoring is something they need to think about for themselves, because I think if you see his stats, that says enough. But one thing you do notice, if he doesn't score, he turns provider, and he opens doors to a lot of other players to get on the score sheet. So I'll be happy if they mark him out the game, because then somebody else is free to score a goal. So good luck to them if they think they can just target one person and think a goal can't come from somewhere else.
We're actually hearing right now some Oasis being played out in this stadium, which I always love when you travel abroad and you hear proper Mank Oasis playing in the arena. So that is your team news for tonight. The big news there that Kyle Walker is on the bench. Oh, I'm getting so excited now. I hope you all are as well. The atmosphere, it really, really is building. The blue section is really filled up now as well, and we can hear the singing and the chanting has started. Not long till kick-off now. We'll go back over to the studio with Steve.
Oh, thanks very much, Nat. Amazing. Not long away. We can't wait. We've seen that City team news. We'll give you the Inter team news very shortly indeed. One man who I'm sure might have a big impression and impact tonight for City is İlkay Gundogan, the captain, 32 years old. He's been on that journey with Pep Guardiola since 2016, and he's been talking about what an incredible influence his manager's been.
Hallo. Ich glaube, viel braucht man zu seiner Einstellung, seiner Mentalität, seiner Arbeitsweise nicht sagen, weil es alles schwarz auf weiß auch festgehalten ist. Und dementsprechend spricht der Erfolg für ihn. Und wahrscheinlich ist er der beste Trainer, den wir zumindest in meiner Zeit jemals gesehen haben. Wir haben tolle Spieler, wir haben aber auch einen tollen Trainer, der uns taktisch immer wieder fordert, uns auf ein anderes Niveau bringt, jedes Mal, und auch immer wieder Lösungen für Probleme hat.
He's just a man, isn't he? And he's got a knack of doing big things in big games. Should we expect it tonight?
Oh, yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, he's an impact player, and I think obviously, as Nat in the studio alluded to earlier, with Haaland potentially, his goal threat being nullified by trying to mark him out, provides provider for someone else. And we've seen Gundogan do exactly the same thing and kind of eat up those opportunities. We saw it in the cup final just the weekend in the FA Cup, and he's an incredible player, but he's also a calm head. He's another leader and almost another manager on the pitch. So having that calm influence, I think, will obviously help solve the problems before maybe Pep needs to intervene. But we've seen that he is more than likely to provide some goals for us and some amazing build-up play as well. So, yeah, I would expect that we'd see some big goals.
His role's been freed up, hasn't it, in recent seasons? He's really been given a lot more licence, and it's certainly played its part in City's play.
Well, the way that the team's set up, the way the manager wants the team to set up, and of course he'd be speaking to Gundogan and to the other players, and he'll want him and other players to be in certain situations at certain times. He's arrived in them situations at certain times with, I would say, aplomb. He's just, and it does finish them. I mean, you look at the...
Like this, after 13 seconds.
I was going to say...
This is what we want to see
more
more of.
I mean, he's the one that takes the kick-off. I mean, I can remember, and I'd more or less just sat down. And when it came across, and I was like, he's going to hit it. And then, bang, it's in. I mean, it's a super strike.
It's the awareness, though, isn't it, as well? To understand that, 12 seconds in, everyone's heads are probably potentially still in the changing room. De Gea struggled over the course of the season as well, and the fact that he's that wide open, though, really. But what a strike that is!
It's not easy, is it?
No, a skill outside of the foot. Are you kidding?
No, he kind of cuts across it. I mean, it's so easy to, what we see as shank it, or to hit it over the bar. That's very easy to cut across and either kick it like sort of really go cross goal and it goes miles past goal on De Gea's right hand side, or you cut too much on it and it goes miles that way. So to get it bang on 13 seconds. I mean, I know the goalkeeper got some criticism, but I'd rather not look at that and look at the actual technique of the finish.
And I think we all know what a top man he is. And in case you hadn't seen the news, he's providing food for over 100 people at a Manchester charity tonight to watch the game. So absolutely top man, Ilkay Gundogan. Right, let's get the Inter Milan team news. So who are the 11 that are going to face Man City tonight? Let's get to our commentary team. Ali Man.
Well, welcome back. We've just digested the Inter team now. I'll just run quickly through it. Onana, Dumfries, Edin Dzeko, Lauro Martinez, Acerbi, Çalhanoğlu, Barella, Di Marco, Darmian, Brozovic and Bastoni. Andy, you've had a lot of looks at them.
Yep.
I guess the only surprise, Brozovic in for Mkhitaryan. What do you make of the side they've named?
Yeah, it's what I thought, apart from that simple change. All the threats are there. We know how they're going to set up. We know how different it will be to Real Madrid, as in the distance between the units and the disciplined, structured, deep block will be different too. So the spaces won't be there. City will have to move the ball left to right. You know, it won't be big transitions. There'll be periods of possession. So it'll be different. But Di Marco and Dumfries still are the outstanding threat for me. The way they play, the way they go high up the pitch. And obviously bringing in Brozovic, which you think might be a two-man screen with Barella maybe coming in sort of a 10 role. There's a threat there, and they're a very, very organised, disciplined, structured team, and that'll take some moving of the ball to break them down.
I tell you, that is a huge mark of respect for City that they've gone with Brozovic. Because it says to me that they are a little bit worried about what City can do, particularly down the middle. Does that suggest that to you?
Well, when I look at Acerbi, if I was them, I'd be worried about moving Darmian and moving Bastoni, and then creating opportunities for Haaland to get down the side. So with two-man screen, it might prevent that. I was thinking that the spaces that would be created would have to be by quick, sharp movements in around that. It's that kind of 14 zone, which is just outside the box, where we've got to move the ball quick to try and to pull them out with our 2-10s. But with them going with two sitters, it makes it slightly different.
Just one final thought. There's something like 15 years difference between City's centre-forward and Inter Milan's centre-forward. But what a centre-forward they have there. The utmost respect from you, I'm sure, for Edin Dzeko.
Absolutely, and, Lukaku has been in exceptional form over the last month, but he's been the player they've gone to in the Champions League. He's been playing very, very well. Will he threaten us in behind? No, but we know what his qualities are. We know what he will bring. His physical presence, he brings people into play, and in Martinez, he's got a great foil. So for me, the main danger will be the diagonal balls, how we deal with them. They go from back to front. They will try and play through the thirds, but there's long diagonals where Dzeko will pull and try and pin Aki. It won't be so easy to pin Akanji, but if he can pin Aki and get against him, they'll get runners from midfield.
The thoughts there of Andy Morris and myself, and Andy will be bringing you the commentary, so make sure you download the app for that. What a night ahead. Can't wait.
Absolutely, guys. Let's digest a couple of players in that Inter team. We've got to start with the goalkeeper. Yeah. What a flamboyant character Onana is. In fact, we've got two keepers who are just superb with feet, maybe slightly different than your average goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, Onana's been exceptional this season. Yeah. I think he's not only is he a great shot stopper, but he's fantastic with his distribution as well. And I think, with a game like this evening, I think Onana will certainly be very busy, and he'll have to have an excellent game to kind of keep Inter in this match, at all, if they have any chance. So it'll be interesting because in terms of pressing, from City, what will that look like with a very, very competent goalkeeper who essentially can spray the ball wherever, So it's another slight, tweak for Pep to think about a little bit, but yeah. The team's going to have to really be on it to get anything past Onana tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, defensively they've been dogged. 5 clean sheets in 6 group games. They certainly know how to mobilise at the back, Steve.
They do, yeah. But having said that, Steve, they've been beat 12 times this season in Serie A. So they do concede, and they are susceptible to getting beaten. So that's obviously something that Pep's looked at as well. I know the captain's been in outstanding form. Yes, we've discussed the goalkeeper. I think, you know, yes, they haven't conceded goals in this competition, very many goals, not a lot. But City's a different animal, it's a different beast. You know, yes, you're coming up against top quality players, but nothing what they're coming up against tonight. So they will have the work cut out tonight. Of course, they have got their threat with their main players, but I think their manager's looking at this and thinking, as Italian teams do, let's try and keep it tight, let's be nice and compact. We've seen the team, is it going to be a 3-5-2, will there be a 10 there? But regardless of what the formation is, when City get the ball, they'll be dropping everybody behind the ball and basically sort of saying, try and break us down.
We shouldn't forget that actually Inter are on the verge of a treble themselves. They won the Supercoppa, they've won the Coppa, and madly, Inzaghi was almost on the verge of being sort of pushed out. The Italian newspapers had the headlines all lined up to say he was on his way this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a record, isn't it? I mean, and everything we've seen in their run up until this stage throughout the Champions League stages has shown that they know how to get the games across the line, don't they? And, you know, the likes of their midfield and seeing Brozovic comes on, you know, I think Brozovic is, you know, fantastic, number 6. He kind of lost his place in the team because is it Chalahagnu? That is like the hardest name to say ever. Used to be a 10 and has been playing the holding midfield role. So I would suggest, like Ali said, that they will probably go with 2 pivots to kind of just compact the midfield and delay City kind of switching the ball as quickly as they can. So he certainly knows, you know, how to get a team that has a passion for defending, and I think that's why they've obviously performed so well in the Champions League so far. So it'll be a fun battle in the midfield anyway to see how both teams go at it.
Well, you say about those tactics. There's only one Premier League team that's beaten City twice this season in Brentford.
Yeah, and they have very
play
similar.
2 up front, 3 in the midfield, 5 at the back. That's Inter Milan, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see how, you know, much like the wing backs obviously get forward and join in. And I think we did see that obviously Mkhitaryan has kind of like transformed himself, you know, at Inter and become this real box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah.
That's been a huge threat for them. And he's, you know, been an engine there. But, you know, we'll see how they go about it tonight.
All right, a couple of players up front. We must mention Martinez, the bull. You know, he's someone who's won the World Cup. He's looking for that incredible double, isn't he, this season? And he's a player who can play alongside either Lukaku or Edin Dzeko. Dzeko's got the nod with him tonight.
Yeah, he's a wonderful player. I think the City fans and the City players will be looking at him and know that he's a threat. Everybody knows what Dzeko can do, obviously with his time here, which was excellent. They know his strengths, possible weaknesses. I don't think there's many though. And of course, we know that there's the threat of Lukaku, who, you know, didn't have a great time at, I think it was Man United, and then obviously he's gone there. There's a bit of injuries and whatnot, but he's in really good form at the moment. So he'll be somebody as well that's looking and kind of, as we say, chopping at the bit to get on, to try and impress. And basically to be sort of saying to everybody in England, you know, I'm still here, I'm still around type thing. But obviously in Martinez, they have got somebody, and he's kind of like the talisman, really. And he'll be looking to impress tonight for sure.
Back to your mate Çalhanoğlu, and he played a blinder the other day in his pre-match interviews because no Turkish player has ever won the Champions League, and of course he's out there hoping to captain the side to a Champions League side. And he said, I think the whole of Turkey will be supporting me tonight.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he's really held down, you know, in the midfield, I think, for Inter. And like I said, it'll be interesting to see how he works alongside Brozovic, if that's where he is going to come. But yeah, I think Lautaro Martinez, for me, is kind of the one that's maybe not got enough plaudits for Inter this season. Because I think, you know, we've seen Dzeko obviously be a target for City in the past, but obviously what he's been doing at Inter is going to be, you know, he'll be a handful tonight for the back 3, back 4. It could be John Stones, it could be Ruben Dias, whoever fills in to go in with him if he does drop deep as well. But it's the second balls, I think, that will potentially provide danger in that counter-attacking threat in behind from Dzeko again, and the wingers getting forward. So, yeah, for me, he's the danger, Lautaro.
Right, City overwhelming favourites, but definitely a case for Inter Milan. Certainly don't write them off. Let's see how this one plays itself out. What sort of script will we have at the end of the night? Let's head back to the Ataturk Stadium and FG and Nedum and find out who they've got with them.
What a great video with some fabulous insight produced by UEFA. Now, you saw me earlier, but I would love to introduce to you the main man, Nedum Anua. Nedum,
I'm back.
How are you feeling as we hear the City fans behind us making loads of noise? Give them a wave. Come on, the boys.
I'm excited and nervous at the same time because you know that they're good enough to do it. So you just hope that you can sit back and watch a game where they really show how good they are. And they are heavy favourites for a reason. They've got the quality front to back. They've got the subs as well. They've got the managers. They've got the whole setup. I just want to see them do it because I think they deserve this. I think they deserve to be classed as the best team in Europe. So yeah, I'm just itching to get the game going, to be honest.
It's been a long time coming. The nerves are settling in, but the atmosphere in the city has been incredible. But before we go on to that, let's talk about our number 9, Erling Haaland. He loves the Champions League.
Yep.
People have actually had the cheek to speak about him being on a little bit of a goal drought since we won the league.
I think some people got too much time on their hands. Do you know when you're counting how many times somebody hasn't scored? I think it's a bit weird because I think it's 52 times that he has. I think that's something to probably focus on. But I think even in the games when he hasn't scored, he's had a big impact in the game. He's creating space for other people. He's keeping the defenders honest, and he's linking the play up. So I've got no dramas at all. And he's going to be so ready for this. His first Champions League final. I'm sure he's going to have a fantastic game.
What about Istanbul? What about the atmosphere? How it's been building last night, by the way, was absolutely incredible. On a small street full of City fans. We saw all the videos. You guys in Istanbul have made loads of noise. I imagine everyone around the world's making loads of noise wherever they are.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, wow.
Yeah, it's class. And this thing, not everyone is fortunate enough to be here, but the ones who are, they're definitely making the most of it. I think to see that collection of City fans away in somewhere like Istanbul for a Champions League final, you know, you have to enjoy yourself. You don't know when the next time it's going to come around.
You absolutely don't. But we did go on a little bit of a tour of Istanbul, and we've got a lovely little part of the show to show you now. So let's head to that, where me and Nedum had a lot of fun, didn't we? After 55 years, Man City are finally back in Istanbul, but this time it's for the Champions League final against Inter.
There's really no other better place to start than right here, the setting for City's first ever European away day. And 19-time champions Fenerbahce were the opponents way back in 1968.
Nedum? No, this is Besiktas's stadium.
I thought you might have noticed that. But back then, the two teams did share a stadium alongside their other rivals in Galatasaray. But anyway, let's move on from that. The first leg at Main Road finished 0-0 before City unfortunately lost the second leg 2-1.
Who played in the game, Nedum?
I think it was Mike Summerby and Colin Bell. You might have heard of them.
You're always a fountain of knowledge. Should we just go to the next stop?
Yeah, let's go.
So here we are in Taksim Square in the heart of Istanbul. And guess what, Nedum?
Go on, sir.
I've got a challenge for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
You can't take this ball, but I want you to go on the lookout for some gifts for our guests, Steph and Sean. Are you up for the challenge?
Absolutely. I've got an idea already. Let's go do this.
So let's start with the man himself, Shawnee, right. What have you got in mind for Sean?
Well, you know, because he's only little, I thought to myself, why not give him something that's going to be full size for him but small for others? And I thought, why don't get him a football?
So let me just get this right.
This is a full-size football for Sean Wright-Phillips, yeah.
You know what? You were very good with this full-size football. I'm staying well out of this, Sean. This has nothing to do with me.
Think how well he used to do with a ball that's too big for him. Wrighty kicking a ball around was like a beach ball for everybody else.
If we don't see clips of you in the studio doing kick-ups to this, we've not done it right.
We have
it's not a bad present, though, is it?
Yeah, I think it's good. Should we get it?
Nothing to do with me, Sean. All right, Nedum.
Yes, sir.
Shot for Sean, completed it.
Sorted.
And now here we are looking for something for Steph. What have you got in mind?
I'm thinking the first bit of Turkish delight for this weekend.
Oh.
See what I did there?
Saturday night would be a nice day to have Turkish delight, wouldn't
That would be good. Let's go get some.
Let's go and have a look.
Please lead the way. Lead the way.
Ooh. So we're thinking for Steph.
Yeah.
Steph's obviously a massive legend in the women's game and also for Man City.
Yeah.
A little celebratory Turkish delight for signing the new contract.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you reckon we can...
Which colour do you reckon? There's only one colour to pick.
There's only one. There's got to be a blue one here. Thank you. Look at the size, it's massive. Free Turkish delight. All right, Nedum, challenge complete. I think we smashed it with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some great gifts. Something for the goat and something for the wee man as well.
Something for Shawnee, right. Our next stop is Galata Tower. Let's head there.
Let's go, man.
Did you know this place used to be a watchtower, but now it's a museum?
You must have just found out. There's no way you've got that in your knowledge bank. No way.
I want some more from your knowledge bank, and I want to talk about some players who represented Manchester City and Inter. And let's start with the man who plays for Inter Milan right now, Edin Dzeko.
Yeah, what a guy. What a player for Man City. He was such a big sign at the time. I remember him when he was playing for Wolfsburg. Right foot, left foot, headers, everything. The total package. And to see him still playing now, you know, I wish him well except for one more game. That's it.
We do wish him well, but obviously not on Saturday. Let's go from one striker to another striker.
I always him. Yeah, Mario, again. He came over so young to City, but his impact was huge, not least of all with that assist, you know, to one Sergio Aguero for a moment there.
His only assist in that season as well.
Listen, it's more than me, so let's just say that's fine.
Let's go to the final one that was so happy for a man that actually played for City at the time, centre midfielder, Patrick Vieira.
Do you know, I still can't believe Patrick Vieira played for Man City. Looking at all those years watching Arsenal when he was so good, you do sort of think to yourself, like, how did he arrive here? Because I used to see him flicking over people's heads at Main Road, but then before you know it, he's there for City. And I'm sitting across from him on a team bus, listening to advice from Patrick Vieira. What a guy, great player, great man, and I think he's a great coach as well.
What a guy, what a man, and what a summary, Nedum. Thank you. That is it for our whistle-stop tour of Istanbul. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Nedum, I don't know about you, mate, but I'm getting a bit hungry.
Yeah, really, yeah? Really?
Should we go and find some food?
Yeah, come on then, let's go.
Nedum and FG, they're inseparable, aren't they? They're like Laurel and Hardy, Woody and Buzz, Batman and Robin. That's the two of them. Well, we've got someone who's going to get in between them now. Let's get back to them. Paul Dickoff is going to put them in order.
Hello and welcome back to our platform outside the stadium. As you can see, we are joined by a man who is loving life in Istanbul. We've seen the videos. There's only one Paul Dickoff. Paul, how has Istanbul been for you?
I'm always loving life, FG. You know that anyway. No, it's been amazing. Got here yesterday. City fans absolutely everywhere. In great form as well. So, you know, went down and met quite a few of them today. Quite humbling, singing my name, but look, absolutely buzzing for tonight. Took us a while to get here, but as you're coming to the stadium here, you hear the City fans singing everywhere. It gives you goosebumps in your neck.
And how are you feeling about the game now that we are here?
Do you know what? I'm always super confident, Nedum. You know that. A little bit nervy, but I just think it's the occasion. But it's a good nervy. It's a nervous confidence, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But obviously, look, it's a one-off game. We play, I say it every week, we play any way that like we can play.
Yep.
I can't see anybody beating us. And hopefully that T-word we'll be talking about a lot tonight after the game.
And what do you make of the team news?
Yeah, obviously, look, Kyle must have that little niggle in his back still from last week. He's not trained this week. And I think the rest of the team picks itself, you know, and especially the front three, you know, Bernardo, obviously Erling, Jack, then the three in the middle. It's the team, more or less, that absolutely demolished Madrid.
Yes.
Let's talk about the two strikers. So not only Erling Haaland, as a striker yourself, how good is firstly obviously Erling Haaland, but of course Edin Dzeko, who's also lining up for Inter today.
Yeah, but the guy's a legend, you know, and still banging in goals the way he is at his age. People will say that he's lost pace and he's lost half a yard. He's quick up there, you know, in and around the box. He's sharp as attack, and we're going to have to be careful, you know, because then we say that Lautaro Martinez, Edin Dzeko, they're top strikers, you know, but you don't expect anything less in the Champions League final.
And if City win today, touch wood they win today, we think they'll win today. Who do you think the man of the match will be for them?
I'm going to go Jack Grealish. I think it's time.
That would be awesome. If Jack Grealish was man of the match in the Champions League final, what character art that would be.
Yeah, I know. And look, he's been sensational since the turn of the year, since he came back to the World Cup. I know he had a little injury a couple of weeks ago, but I genuinely believe consistently he's been our best player, and he's going to have a huge say in this tonight.
Unfortunately, we can't have you in the 95th minute to go through on goal. If you had to pick anyone from our Manchester City starting 11 to score or go through on goal at that time period, who are you picking?
FG, there's so many.
That's a nice position to be in.
It is. Look, Kevin De Bruyne, but you've got to say Erling Haaland. But what we'll say about it is that I don't think it's going to take for somebody to go through in the 95th minute. I think it'll be wrapped up before that.
Yeah. On to my next question. What is your prediction for this? How do you see the game going, and what score do you think it's going to be?
I thought it's no secret what they're going to do. They're going to have 5 at the back, they're going to have 3 across the midfield, and they're going to have 2 up top. They're going to defend deep in a low block, but that's something we're used to. Expect a few little dirty tricks to be in there from the Italians trying to upset us a little bit. But we're used to that now, you know, and I think the confidence and I think the experience over the last couple of years, yes, we lost in Porto, yes, we lost in Madrid last year, but I think the lads have shown in the Bayern Munich game, when they've needed to, in the Real Madrid game, the big games this season, that they've shown that they know how to win them, and I don't expect anything less tonight.
It's always nice to speak to an absolute legend. Always nice to see you looking great. Paul Dickov, go in the crowd and enjoy yourself. Thank you.
Looking sharp, your mate, Mr. Dickov, isn't he? Got the Simon Cowell glasses in the middle. And
he scrubs up well.
He dressed up for the night?
He scrubs up well. He looked tidy when I seen him on Saturday as well.
I thought he looked a bit nervous at the start of that.
He did a little bit. I could hear like a little quiver.
Is he the first one that I felt a bit of nerves from?
I even know he's saying how confident he was. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he forgot which glasses to put on as well, so I don't know. It's getting to his head.
But I mean, he did say that he did have a little bit of nerves, but it was like a kind of a good nervousness, if you want. So maybe that's what it was.
Right. We're going to have a little chat on Erling Haaland. We talked about him before. How big would it be for him to make an impact tonight?
I'd be surprised if he doesn't make an impact. I mean, the thing is, which I think we've kind of touched on today as well, I think, 1 in 7, the goals that he scored, and of course people love to jump on, the bandwagon type thing and sort of say, oh, he's got off the ball and this and that and t'other. He doesn't have to score. I mean, obviously he loves scoring goals. We know that. Centre forwards do. Centre forwards are a different breed. They're greedy. They just love scoring goals. But he's a player that, of course, he takes pleasure in that. But he takes away 2 defenders. So even if he's not involved actually physically in the build-up, i.e. touching the ball, the way his movement is, he pulls defenders into positions which frees up space for your Gundogan's, for your Grealish, for De Bruyne's. So
when Inzaghi said he had a plan for him, actually, it's very hard to plan to play against him.
Well, of course it is, because as the manager be telling the centre-halves, you're sticking with him. And basically, listen, you can talk to your defenders and sort of like push them on. So you've like, have you got him? But you're that conscious about him, you're not 100% switched on about what's going on your right-hand side or vice versa. And then you just have to, switch off for that split second. And at this level, you get caught out.
Right. Is this just the beginning of the story, do you think? I mean, because, the stats he set this season are silly, aren't they?
Oh, they're unbelievable. I mean, yeah, just an incredible amount of goals over the course of a season. Yeah. But I think Steve's hit the nail on the head. Like the number of threats that Haaland actually causes the opposition. Like he can come into the midfield, link up play. He'll be there as a target, knock down, turn, run at goal. He'll be there with his head, set pieces, corners, free kicks, anything, you name it, and he will drag defenders and take them to places that they don't want to go. He'll be on that shoulder. Oh, where is he? He's moved. Or, even like shots that we've seen, the likes of, was it Kevin De Bruyne that shot from midfield that hit the crossbar and then Haaland followed it up, and it was just, there's so many goals that I've seen like I can't even remember, but even if he's not the primary target, like he'll certainly be there as an indirect involvement, so I don't know. Like, I'm just getting to this point tonight where I just want the game to kick off already so we can actually talk about what's happened, like not what we think is going to happen. But yeah, I certainly think that he will provide a major impact in some way or another, whether it's directly or indirectly tonight.
Right. Well, he's only young, but of course, how did he get to this point? So let's have a look at the Erling Haaland story.
Bryne er en liten, fredelig, trivelig by med 12 000 innbyggere. Hallo!
Bryne betyr veldig mye for meg. Folk går på Bryne, dugnadsånder. Du blir godt tatt imot. Det er ikke noen som går der med høyt hode og tror de er noe. Det er liksom, det er bidrag fra fellesskapet.
Ja, så fine. Så fine du var.
Og så kom det en slags lang periode der Bryne var litt uinteressant. Så nå er det livlig torg, masse kaféer, utesteder, og ikke minst Erling Braut Haaland, som da har kommet de siste årene.
Han framsnakker hvor han kommer fra, er stolt over røttene sine, stolt over Bryne. Her er heimplassen hans.
后来就是我很小认识他的，看到他慢慢长大。他每年就是那个以前，他每年经常到我这里吃饭。那时候我认识他，也不知道他有今天这么成就，对吧？那个 Chinese 古老鸡，还有那个黑椒啊，黑椒做的那个鸭子，这是他的最爱。
Ja, og Erling som gutt, det var en livlig gutt. Alltid et smil, litt... Ja, han var livlig, det kan jeg si. En livlig gutt. Han var jo ikke interessert i skolen, det ga han klar beskjed. Han sa, som jeg sier her på Jæren, han i skolen. Så sa jeg, nei, du må konsentrere deg om skolen, men nei, han skulle bli fotballprofessor for faren sin.
Ja, jeg trente Erling fra han var 8 til han var 15 år. Erling har en forbausende lik spillestil nå som han hadde når han var 11-12 år. Du ser de samme bevegelsene, han gir med det samme. Det Erling som har skapt Erling.
Vidt jeg ser, så du sønnen til
Haaland.
Det helt riktig. Du heter Erling, og du skårte 2 mål. Hvem det som har lært deg å skåre mål? For faren kunne det ikke.
Jeg aner ikke. Meg selv.
Vi har bare vært en god, trygg arena der han kunne utvikle seg i fred og ro.
Han gikk ut på banen, og samme hva lag vi hadde møtt, så hadde han vært like.
Han fikk jo debuten da han var 15. Det husker jeg godt på Bruyne stadion. Alle hadde jo snakket om Erling Braut Haaland.
Hva tenkte du da du fikk beskjed om å starte?
Jeg tenkte det var kjekt.
Ja.
Og at det syr alltid kommer.
Ja. Hvordan føler du at det gikk?
Det gikk ganske bra. Jeg er jo banens beste, så jeg tror i hvert fall det gikk ganske bra.
Alle så at dette kom til å bli en god fotballspiller, men på det nivået som han er kommet nå, det kun han selv som har sagt. Og jeg husker han sa til lagkamerater at han skulle vinne Ballon d'Or en dag. Og da lo alle bare og tenkte at nei, det er så long shot. Men nå er han jo faktisk kandidat til å stikke av med hele Ballon d'Or. Han er, som sagt, veldig jordnær, og det liker jeg ekstremt godt med han. At han vet selv hvor stor han er. Mest omtalte person, tror jeg, i hele verden på et tidspunkt nå. Så at han fremdeles er den fine typen fra Bruyne.
Fornøyd med han uansett. Erling har en plass i hjertene våre, uansett om det blir tap eller vinner en fotballkamp.
Du trenger ikke komme fra Liverpool eller fra Brasil for å bli verdensstjerne. Du kan klare det. Nå kommer jeg fra Bruyne også.
Amazing video, just a brilliant story of the path taken by a young Erling Haaland and to where he is now. That was made by UEFA. Absolutely fantastic to watch. Right, just over half an hour until we get going, of course. The Ataturk Stadium. There's our fans. Slowly, more and more. Getting the beers. Give us a wave, everyone on the fan wall. Are you there? Can you see us? It's one or two. Those guys haven't stopped all night. Yeah, and join a beer or two. Meanwhile, there's quite a few pints being supped at the Mayfield depot. Let's hear from Mike Joyce, the Smiths drummer.
Welcome back to Manchester here at Mayfield Depot, and I've got a Manchester legend alongside me, Mike Joyce from the Smiths. Mike, how you doing, mate? You good? I'm great. I'm feeling everything at the moment. I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm confident, and I'm worried. All those things. One great big maelstrom inside my head. That's called being a City fan, Mike, isn't it? I know, yeah. But the thing is, I think, you know, when I've been feeling like this, whether it's Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, or Liverpool, Arsenal game, there's no need to be as scared as they used to be. Concerned because you don't. Obviously, it's just one game, isn't it? So you don't know. But confidence mainly. But I don't like feeling too confident. I'm the same, innit? You're like, what's going to happen if I am? I know what my wife was saying. She was like, oh no, tempting fate. And I'm like, no, but you got to feel confident because we're the best team in the land and all the world. Absolutely, best team in the land. The song's right, innit? You know what I mean? Come on, mate. See ya. He's twisting his melon, man, this guy. So what's your... Holy cow! Mike, what's your reaction to that team then, of course? It's strong, isn't it? Yeah, it is. I mean, what else would it be? I mean, apart... Obviously, well, a couple of years ago, obviously, you know, when we played Chelsea, and it was like, hey? Nah, you sure? Really? So, no surprise, no massive surprises, but, you know, it doesn't matter whether Mahrez is on the bench or whether Foden's on the bench. We've got a great team. We've not just got a great side, we've got a great team, and they deliver. Whoever comes on, anytime, you know, if Mahrez comes on, Gundogan goes off, Foden comes on, Grealish comes on, they deliver. Oh, Alvarez, a World Cup winner, you know what unbelievable. I mean? I know. Well, I mean, I thought that the Liverpool game when Haaland had a groin injury, and we battered them, and I felt so happy for the team, you know, because, rather than Haaland FC. Yeah, of course, you know what I mean? And Alvarez is the kind of guy who can make a difference. Well, we got so many players who can make a difference, but who could be the man tonight for Man City, do you reckon? They all are, every day, every game. Somebody asked me this the other day. You know, I mean, look at John Stones. Look at the way he's, you know, what he brings to the team. Never mind the obvious heroes. Look at Diaz. Oh, what you know what I mean? They're all heroes, collectively. A lot of them. Mike, I'm going to ask you, score prediction. City are going to win. You heard it first. That's it. Mike's predicted it. It's going to happen. Back to you guys. Come on, Blues.
So you've now seen both the starting 11s for City and for Inter, and no real surprises there in that Inter team. Of course, there was a question perhaps, would Dzeko start or would Lukaku start? And of course, it is our former player, Edin Dzeko. So, Sean, did you see that Inter team and just think that's exactly what I was expecting?
Yeah, to be honest, I did. I think I watched both their legs in the semi-finals, and it seemed that they've been playing a similar way for a bit now, and I don't think they're going to change it. I think it's served them well. They're in the Champions League final, so I don't think there's much more they can really do, to be honest with you. Or for example, I don't think they can play any other way than what we've all already seen.
And Edin Dzeko, we've seen throughout the season, particularly in the Champions League as well, tends to play for about 60-65 minutes, and then Lukaku comes on. I think it would be really interesting to see what the score is at that point, because the idea that a fresh-legged Lukaku, who was looking on fire in their training session yesterday, coming on at that time, that could be a danger, Steph.
Yeah, I think that is a danger. I think even Dzeko, for that 60-70 minutes that he's going to play, I think for City, they have to keep him at bay. They have to make sure that we've all seen his strengths over the years and what he can do. And in the first leg against AC Milan, he scored a great goal where you're thinking that is just typical Edin Dzeko. And I think there's no surprise in that team in terms of the way that they play. The 3-5-2 formation suits them well, especially with Martinez up top. He's quick, he can move about the front line and kind of cause City problems. But I think this is a team that we probably would have predicted on paper, and we can't take these for lightly. I think with the club that is such as big as Inter Milan and the history that they have in this Champions League is special. And it'll be interesting to see how City handle them front two, to be honest.
I found find really interesting with them this year, of course, is they finished third in their league, away off Napoli, but have been so hugely successful in these knockout cup competitions. What is different in terms of playing in knockout competitions that perhaps has made them so successful, whereas it hasn't worked so well for them in the league?
I think sometimes a player's mentality and a team's mentality, when you have these knockout competitions and you have them games that you've only got that 90 minutes to do something, sometimes as a player you just go, right, okay, we have nothing to lose. I think you kind of have that mentality where you go, right, okay, you probably do relax a little bit more because you're like, okay, well, there's either one way or the other way, and I'm going to give it absolutely everything. And I think these types of teams with these players and players that have won World Cups in this team, such as Martinez, they've been in that position quite a lot, and that pressure has been there, and that maybe does bring the best out of them. And hopefully that doesn't happen tonight, but that was probably the case in this Champions League, because an Italian team, we probably would have all predicted that Napoli would probably potentially be one of the teams we looked out for, but this Inter Milan have proved that they can actually go against the best teams in this competition, and here they are in the final.
Yeah, and their fans expect European success. It might not have come for a few years now, but those fans, they know what it feels like to win a European trophy. They know what it feels like to win cup competitions, Sean. So do you feel that is something that goes in their favour? Of course, something we haven't experienced yet.
Yeah, you got to take all the experience and put it in that positive way. I think if you don't have those experience, then you don't really have that history either. So the fact that, like Steph said, that history of the club is massive and the achievements they've accomplished along the way, it's a club that is rightfully due to be in the Champions League final, especially with the way they've played. I think they're very stubborn defensively. They will make it hard to break down, but I think there will be chances there, though, for City to take, and it's just whether we take them.
I think it's 7 or 8 clean sheets they've had in their 12 Champions League games this season. They've scored a lot less goals than us, but they are, like you say, so defensively solid. Some of the comparisons I've been hearing this week, which got me a little nervous, I'm sorry, Steph. Of course, there's only one team that beat us twice this year in the Premier League, and it was, of course, Brentford. And I hear them being compared, their style of play being compared to Brentford's style of play all week. Would you agree with that? And does that make you a little nervous?
No, I'd say, to be honest, I'd say the way Brentford defend is a bit more dogged than I would say Inter Milan. I think after watching the first leg at AC versus Inter, I personally don't think they defended that well. There was a lot of chances in that game for AC Milan, which AC Milan didn't take. So, like I said, there will be opportunities, but they will sit deep and make it very, very hard to break down.
Yeah, so defensively, in terms of the way that they play, Steph, are we expecting them to sit back, to let us knock the ball around, and for them to try and hold the line, hold defensively strong, and just wait for that kind of 1 or 2 opportunities? Is that kind of what you're expecting to see?
Yeah, I think in this system, the way that Inter Milan have played over the last couple of games, especially in the Champions League, that has been what they've tried to do against better opponents. And I think maybe against AC Milan, they probably went a little bit more forward. They let their wing-backs go. But yeah, I think for me, I think they would pay a lot of respect to Manchester City, and I think they will sit in, they will try and make it hard and maybe try and catch us on the counter, and that's why we really need to be sharp. When we're defending, we need to be organised. But this team, I think for Man City, that they keep the ball so well, so it's like you're kind of stuck a little bit because you don't want them to have all the ball, you need to try and press them. But City is so good at that, finding that moment where someone steps out, they just take that space and they take that opportunity, so hopefully that happens.
I loved the way Pep described it in his press conference when he said, 0-0, we aren't winning, and at 0-0 they feel like they're winning, but they're not, which is just sort of the different ways the teams play. I also find it really fascinating how they seem to use 5 subs in every game, of course, where we rarely make any subs. So that'll be interesting to see as well. So, of course, that was the thoughts of Steph and of Sean. And FG has been outside the stadium trying to find as many City faces as he can.
Yes, welcome back to the platform. Joining me is a Manchester City legend looking suave as always, Michael Brown. Brownie, you've been here since Wednesday. How have you found Istanbul?
Yeah, it's been really good, but I'll slip you a few quid just to give you that little bit of a mention of your suit. You've come all in the City colours, as expected, mate. But listen, you just watched over the last few days how we started to grow. More people come, more people got involved, those nerves and that little bit of tension starts to gather. And just even last night, the scenes of watching everybody central. So, again, you know, it's just a wonderful opportunity for everybody, and we're all looking forward to it.
And how are you feeling now the game's here?
Well, that's the one, isn't it? Do you know, I did a show yesterday, and some people were saying it's going to be so comfortable to City, and I was saying, do you know what, it could be, but we have to go a little bit cautious. We have to understand the opposition that we've got. You know, you feel like, I think you'll feel like 7 or 8 times out of 10, City are going to win this game. They're going to qualify and be champions of the Champions League, which is what we've waited for such a long period of time. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling optimistic, but we can't take it for granted.
Let's talk about that midfield. Let's talk about our captain Ilkay Gundogan. He's been massive for us, a massive moment, not just this season, in previous years. Remember the Villa game last year. How important do you think he's going to be in today's game, and how big of a role is he going to play?
Do you know what? Imagine if he does something again. If he starts scoring.
We wouldn't bet against him, would you? That's the
no,
thing.
he wouldn't, and that's the thing. When you're in that sort of that form and that belief, you tend to just get forward, and then you realise, you know what? I'll try that. I'll go and get into the box. I can make that forward run, and then ultimately things happen for you. I mean, 13 seconds. I mean, it's ridiculous, wasn't it? Yeah. So really, I think this is going to be important as well. How City's set up, to see what space. You're hearing different rumours from different people, whether it's going to be a slower start from City, they'll just be controlled, don't want to concede, just really feel their way into this game, or will it be one of those quicker starts into Haaland, try and stretch wherever possible, and then obviously that gives a little bit of space to
and what would you do? What's your style?
I think for me, I'd understand if they're either going to start right. Well, let's get hold of it. Let's get control of the game. Let's really move the ball around. We don't want them to score because we know it'll be difficult. But maybe it's just me. I like it where it's a little bit quicker, a little bit more dynamic, up a bit faster. And I don't mean long. I just mean stretch it. Like the first 15 minutes against Manchester United, where they went really quick into Haaland, and we're seeing a different Haaland as well. You know, seeing a different tool that he's got. So it was a bit of that, but listen, in Pep we trust.
Yes. In Pep we trust, absolutely. Brownie, you've made us feel better as always. Let's get a score prediction.
Oh, so tough.
Tough score prediction.
It's really tough. Has it been good? I've literally just come in as if there's been a good one. So I was 2-0. I'm going to go with 2-0 City. What do you think? What did you say? You must have been asked a few times.
I went 3-1. So I'm still thinking a 2-goal margin. But I just don't like panicking about clean sheets and stuff like that. So I'll accept the one.
Matter, does it?
A win's a win. A win's a win.
We will take absolutely anything. Brownie, thank you for joining us as always. Thanks for all the amazing work throughout the season. Hopefully we're going to enjoy the game, enjoy the evening. See you guys soon.
Thank you, guys. I think it's funny how they sort of change in their predictions at this late stage. Have you two nailed in a prediction each?
I'm not bothered as long as they win. I mean,
have you got a prediction?
I've changed my mind 2 or 3 times because I've
just deliver us.
I've gone with 2-0 and then I went with 3-1, like the boys were saying there.
Right.
I think it's difficult to keep a clean sheet.
Right.
But at the same time, I trust in the lads at the back and the goalkeeper. So I'm going to go 2-0. Actually,
I think Karen's a bit more
You're going to go 3-1,
She's just
aren't
stuck with her initial thought.
I mean, they've just said it, but my initial thought in my head was it was going to be a bigger scoreline. I have a feeling tonight, and so initially it was going to be 3-1, but they've just said it there, so now it just sounds like I'm just copying them.
And Michael was saying in there about how he'd been told by some that maybe City might come out with a different sort of proposition, start a bit slower so they don't concede. You're thinking, why would you change your game plans?
Everything's been so good up until this moment. It just... Yeah, I don't know. Regardless, I just think...
Did Pep learn a big lesson a couple of years ago in the final against Chelsea? Is that ultimately...
I think Nat said it probably earlier in the show, referring to, is Rodri playing? Because obviously with Leon, that game, where we didn't play with a holding midfielder in the quarterfinal, I think he learned a big lesson there. But yeah, even over the course of the season about, John Stones going, inverting and then moving centrally and then inverting from there, and kind of the evolution of the back line with the return of Ruben Diaz and things like that. We've seen a massive amount of defensive stability return to this team that maybe we didn't have in the beginning of the season. So more shots, fewer blocks, more goals, things like that we conceded. But it seems so solid, of late, especially the latter run of the Premier League as well, that I just, I can't see Inter Milan really creating a numerous amount of threats tonight. So I'll give him 1.
Yeah, you'll give them one. Look at the buzz.
I wouldn't change the way that you play, because how they've been playing has been brilliant, and it's got them to where they were. And I think even Inter Milan, they'd be like, the manager could be sort of saying they could come out here with a ferocious pace and they're expecting it. Fine. But expecting it and actually being in it in reality is two different things. Because you look at Real Madrid and their top players, Benzema, Cruz, Modric, they were actually standing around thinking, what on earth is happening here? This has never, ever happened to us before. We are Real Madrid.
They were miles off, weren't they?
And Real Madrid got schooled that day. And basically, I wouldn't say embarrassed, but they just couldn't touch them. Now, and I know Inter Milan's a very good team, but nobody can live with City when they hit that tempo.
And do you know what? City have got a number of players that have been on the journey all the time. Gundogan, but I must mention Kevin De Bruyne. You know, because he's been there and he's been fundamental to the journey under Pep, hasn't he? To where they've got to now.
Well, he is, but he's a quality player. And, you know, you always sort of say you're top player when you come in the big games, and he comes in the game. You can sort of say that about Gundogan as well. But everybody knows how good Kevin is. You know, just his assists, but obviously vital goals that he pops up with. You know, as a defender, you can be so close and so touch tight to your centre forward, but if the ball comes in, which you know as a defender, I daren't go to try and cut it out, because if I cut it out, I'm scoring an own goal. But if I don't go cut it out, it's reaching Haaland or it's reaching somebody else. He puts you in awful situations. I'd hate to play against him because he makes at times he makes you look silly.
Best player of his generation that's not won the Champions League?
Oh, well, let's hope.
That's a debate, isn't it? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll win it tonight and we'll put that one to bed, won't we?
Right, we've got some live shots on our wall from around the world. I'm not sure where we are there, but they're looking quite serene at the moment. They're quite calm. I'm sure that one will build up to a bit more of a buzz. Anyone give us
Hawaii
a wave from... There's Hawaii. Hawaii's not... they're not quite settled in. Hello, Hawaii. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Hey!
He was looking outside. Oh, he's ran in.
Give us a hula.
He was wanting
Nice
to
to
get
see you,
famous there.
Hawaii.
Give us a hula.
He almost burst into a dance set, didn't he?
Oh, that's
Absolutely
amazing.
Fantastic. Guinness sold here. That's not Ireland we've hooked up with, is it? Young gentleman in the right-hand corner. Anyway, great to see you on the wall from there. Let's go to Mayfield Depot. Now then, this is where the party's getting going. Pretty noisy there, but I think our man Steve has found a quieter area to chat with some fans. Steve.
And we're back in Mayfield Depot with all the City fans pouring into this venue. It's going to be a wonderful night. I've got two more Blues alongside me. Guys, what's your name, mate?
Liam Birchall.
And who have we got here?
Maddox.
And whereabouts are you from? You're from Manchester?
And we're both from Blackpool, actually, yeah.
So you got a day out in the sun in Manchester for a change, actually, yeah?
Yeah, it's great. Really looking forward to it.
What's your mood, right? Where's your current mood at? Because obviously it's a tense one, mate, isn't it?
We got to our hotel at about 3 and we were quite calm. We got a few drinks in, but then we've started getting nervous the more it's coming closer to kick-off. I'm getting very, very nervous, I can't lie.
Is that nerves good, though, for you? Do you enjoy the nerves, or is it a bit too much?
Yeah, it's good nerves. It's good nerves. Obviously, it's been a nervous event over the years for City fans, but I'm really looking forward to it, yeah.
Why does it feel different this year? Because for me it does, mate. Does it feel different for you as well?
I think the way we started the season, a lot of people writ us off with like Arsenal doing well in the league, etc. And then, of course, Pep does what he always does and absolutely creates something magic. And ever since, we've not looked back and we've just been unstoppable, really.
You confident tonight, mate, then? So, like, obviously, one game away from immortality, a treble. Are we going to do it tonight?
I think we are going to do it tonight. It's the strongest team I've seen in my lifetime. I know it's probably a shorter lifetime to others, but very confident going into tonight, and hopefully it pays off.
It's got to pay off, isn't it? It's got to pay off, right?
I hope so. Bloody hell. It feels like everything's built up to this, and just like all the fans here, City putting it on. Like, I don't think many other clubs would do this for other fans. Like, we've got all other fans that couldn't go to Istanbul. It just feels right.
But let's be honest, like, you'd rather be here, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Back in Manchester, as opposed to they've got Istanbul over there, but we've got Mayfield Depot, haven't we?
Exactly. And the atmosphere is here. I imagine it's just as good because it's purely just City fans that are working class people that like it's cheap tickets.
Score predictions, I'm going to need them. Go for it, mate. Go on.
I'm going 3-0. De Bruyne brace. I think De Bruyne will bag 2 today.
Ooh, I like it.
Big game player, De Bruyne. I think he's stepping up for today.
And yourself?
I'm feeling a 3-1 and Jack Grealish scores the crucial second goal.
Go on, Jackie. Right, guys. We're out of time, unfortunately. We've got to go back to Istanbul. Hope you're enjoying it over there. We're enjoying it here in Manchester. Cheers.
So kickoff is fast approaching here inside the stadium. And you know what, to be honest with you, my nerves have settled a lot, and I think it's mainly thanks to these two for just calming me, and I cannot wait for this game to kick off now. Sean, as we reach closer and ever closer to the start of this game, how are you feeling? How do you think the game's going to go?
I'm still feeling confident. I do think we're going to win it. It won't be as easy as people are making out, but I'll be happy with 2-0.
He dropped that one in there, didn't you? You'll be happy with 2-0.
Yeah.
You'll be happy as long as we lift the trophy. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
he dropped that so casually. Steph, how are you feeling now, and what sort of game are you expecting?
I feel a bit more nervous now. I think you've passed your nerves on to me, and I think the lads are now going to warm up as well, so I'm like getting a bit excited. But yeah, I think same as Sean in terms of confidence. I think it will be a tight game. So, I don't know what prediction. 2-1 City in normal time.
No, Steph, no, please.
Why we win?
2-1's a horrible scoreline, though.
It's a Champions League final. What about you, Natalie?
Well, I'm hoping it's not 2-1, because at the end of that FA Cup game last week, I was a mess, Steph, and you know I get nervous during games anyway. I'll be on the floor. You'll have to peel me off by the end of it if it's 2-1. I think it's going to be a little bit more convincing than that. I've gone from being sort of really nervous to quite confident, and I think City are going to do this by maybe 2 or 3 goals, and I think it might be wrapped up quite early. So, or maybe that's just me projecting my hopes.
Fingers crossed.
My hopes. Steph, thank you so much for being here with us. Sean, thank you so much as always. We will be with you at full time to give you our instant reaction. And I so hope that when you see us again, we are partying and dancing and crying in this studio. So Blues, enjoy the game. We'll see you very soon.
Right, no doubt they're excited. We're getting excited. Well, we're very close indeed. Let's get some final pre-match thoughts. Steve, how will the game materialise itself, and what are these players thinking right now?
They'll be excited. They'll have that nervous energy. Players will now, they've been hanging about. They're just like, let's get the game on. Let's get ready for it. We've built this up. We've been waiting for a week really after the FA Cup final. They just want to get out there. But like I sort of said before, I think I would hope they come out firing and they basically just try and blitz them without being too silly. Hunt the ball down when they haven't got the ball, because the players will be thinking, they're not going to keep this up for 90 minutes, but we've seen against Real Madrid, they can. And by that time as well, the tide could possibly be over. So I get the more kind of sensible approach and all right, let's feel each other out type stuff. But I think there could be an early goal. And if we can get it, which I am hoping it is, us that get this early goal, then this changes the final and the dynamics of it massively. We could have a brilliant open game, rather than a game which you normally get with Italian teams, which is quite defensive.
Do you not wish we were at the centre of that at the moment?
I really do.
The City fans, doesn't it?
That looks so fun.
What a party
you might
that
have
is.
seen us at the end of it.
Just very quickly, an early goal for City makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I think they should start front-footed and just take the game to Inter.
Immortality awaits. They deserve it. Now they've got to deliver it. Come on, City. Let's get to our commentary team. They're in the Ataturk Stadium. And, of course, it's Andy Morrison and Ali Man.